What's going on? Well, what's up, Jake from Milwaukee? How you doing, buddy? You, Jake, you a dog trainer down in Milwaukee or what? Nice. Awesome. Wow. Three dogs and you have one that bites the other two? And the cats? Looks like you need to separate them for a while. Wait, where have you seen me, Jake? I used to, I used to train dogs in Milwaukee. I gotta share this link to Facebook really quick. A Touch of Class Pet Resort in Oshkosh. Hmm. Oh, cool, man. What kind of dogs do you train? Pet dogs? So bear with me one second. I gotta post this this link. Okay. Cool, man. Awesome. Awesome. What? How long have you been doing it? Yeah, I think a lot of people have been requesting shadow programs for us. Anyway, let me just get started here, Jake, and I'll get back to you, buddy. Uh, Hi guys, I'm Jeremy Majors with Majors Academy Dog Training out of Green Bay, Wisconsin, and here to answer any questions you have, no matter if it's dog training, no matter if you're a dog trainer and you just want advice, it doesn't matter. Any questions you have, feel free to ask. We're going to be waiting on a couple of people from the rescue group that I'm involved with to enter too, so they can ask questions. Yeah, that's good, Jake. That's kind of sort of how I started. Um, awesome, awesome, awesome. Who do you follow anybody? Are you mentoring under anyone? What's I think it's very important to mentor under someone that you like their style and their way of training. Um, I started out at a dog daycare for many years, and I think that has given me pretty much 70% of the knowledge and how I approach uh, dog training. So very good knowledge that you learn in a pack of dogs. Oh, nice. Okay, okay. So you know the fam. Okay, awesome. Oh, okay. Did a workshop. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so good. You know some good ones. Should be going to T3. Very good. T3 is awesome. I'd love to have somebody in Milwaukee that I can refer people to because we have, we have, we're booked out a couple of months in advance and people need help. Some people need help like yesterday. And so it'd be good to have somebody I can throw some dogs to because some people don't have that time to wait 2 or 3 months before they get to me. Yeah. So, um, but what you need to do is just come up here and you can come by here anytime. We're always here. And yeah, come up. If you ever come up for a Packers game or something like that, or just a weekend, come by and bring your dog, and we can show you some stuff. I also train some police dogs on the side, uh, based mostly bite work and protection work. I don't get into the to the I don't get into the bomb detection and all that stuff, but I have trained local police dogs, Green Bay, Wisconsin, local police dogs, and teaching them how to properly bite. Because the problem is, a lot of these dogs aren't in control. The police officers lose control of their dogs, and they end up mauling a lot of people, as opposed to really learning how to train where to bite. That's the other important thing is most police dog trainers don't know how to train their dogs where to bite and bite effectively. So I like trainers who can understand behavior mod and protection side. Yeah, it's I think a lot of dog trainers are missing or should experience the protection side of it. Yeah, Tyler Modell is awesome. I like Tyler Modell. He yeah, he's a really good friend of mine. But anyway, it gives you a leg up because you are dealing with such high levels of aggression, and it may not be the same. Well, it is the same. There's fearful dogs in protection work too. Believe it or not, there's fearful dogs in, and a lot of people don't know that. Like a lot of dog trainers think that protection dogs have to be are super trained and super obedient. No, they're not. They're some of those dogs are straight assholes. Excuse my language. But for example, how do you train puppies to be quiet at night in crate, especially when they are so young? So what you have to do with that puppy is start crating that dog not during the day too. Give that puppy a break, and start crating him during the day when you're home and when you can correct it. What you have to do and what you should start doing is never let whining get your dog anywhere, because if he knows that whining will get him something, he's going to continue to do it. So when you put him in the crate, you got to tell him no. You cannot talk to him in the crate, and always try and get your dog to be calm in that crate. But the biggest thing is to ignore him while he's in that crate, because again, if he starts to whine and you get up and open the door for him and you let him outside, yes, you need to let him outside to go to the bathroom, but you can't. In his mind, the whining worked for him. So I tell people all the time, the dog, you don't let the dog determine when they go outside to pee. You do. And so you give them a certain schedule. You keep them on schedule, a certain amount of time after they eat, and there will be no need. So that way you can cut out any excuse to go get your dog when they're whining. So that means when they're whining, just straight up ignore it. And so that's kind of how you get a puppy to remain quiet in the crate. Okay, hope that helped. If you have another question, you can go ahead and ask. Feel free to ask. We're just waiting on some people to come in from the rescue. Anybody here from Fetch Wisconsin Rescue? Give me a heart or a comment or something. But anyway, I'll talk about like I was saying about the protection work. It really gives you a different insight. Yeah, you can contact me through my website. Yeah, that's fine. Or email me at majorsacademy@aol.com. Hey, we got somebody from Fetch that made it. Glad you made it. I don't really know how this works. I'm kind of new to sharing it on Facebook and whatnot. What is the correction in the middle of the night? Let's say the whining carries on for long periods. So what you need to get is a pet convincer. Try that. Go Fetch. There you go. What you need to get is a pet convincer. That'll correct a puppy pretty well. And pet convincer just shoots out air, and you can look it up on Amazon. It is, I think it's around $40, but it uses just air cartridges that you would use to, in like a BB gun or something. It just shoots out air, and it just goes psh, like that, kind of how like the dog whisperer sound is. But you spray him that you spray in the vicinity of that puppy, and it will be quiet. Do you know of any rescue area that respect? Yes, actually. Let's see. Yeah, it's kind of like it is kind of like Caesar Milan in a can. But some rescues that you would that you could work with in Milwaukee. Check out Canine Cupids if you haven't. They have sent me dogs in the past, and they are okay with balanced trainers. So a lot of rescues, for those that you don't know, or that for those that are from Fetch, a lot of rescues are only like certain training methods and styles, and it's canine spelled out, so it's the actual word canine and then Cupid. They're in Milwaukee, and the woman is named Lynn. But if anyway, a lot of rescues are against some of the tools that we use, and they really feel strongly that positive only training is the only thing that's going to work for rescue dogs. So, anyway, getting back to the puppy question, you cannot let that dog whine. What I did with my puppy was I put the crate in my room, and I also crated the dog when I took him somewhere. For example, I took him to training somewhere, and I put him in the crate in the car. Obviously, when the weather was okay, but they, yeah, yeah, that's common with rescues. Anyway, so I put the puppy in the crate so he can just get used to the crate. Again, start crating that dog, start crating that puppy when you're home as well, as opposed to just allowing the puppy to have free will, so that the puppy knows that that's the place you are to be calm and quiet, and you have the ability to correct him, and he's not keeping you up all night, because I know that's got to be tough. That's got to be a little frustrating. People love their sleep. I got a question on Instagram. I'm gonna go over really quick. Okay, it says, I think it's a separation anxiety. All right, it says he freaks out every time I leave the house. I wanted him to stay in the kitchen area the first day in case he had any accidents. He ended up tearing up a section of hardwood flooring because he was trying to escape so frantically. He also shredded his blanket. He barked so loud and for so long that my neighbor texted me about it. We live in separate houses on different lots, not apartments that share walls. Also tried to get him to sleep in his kennel last night. He cried from 10:30 to 4:30 a.m. I got no sleep, but didn't want him to think that if he cries, he gets his way. How do I get the barking and the crying to stop so my neighbors don't hate me and I can get some sleep? So the best way to get some sleep there is, especially if this dog is an adult dog, go ahead and get a bark collar, and so you can get a peace of mind, and your dog actually will be provided with a peace of mind too. He'll only bark once, and then he'll be corrected, and then he'll relax, because barking for that long is super, super stressful. So he basically barked for 6 hours straight, and then pissed off your neighbors. So get a bark collar. I only recommend Dogtra YS 500. So if you anybody interested in a dog in a bark collar, write this down. Dogtra, Dogtra YS as in Sam 500. That is in my opinion, the best bark collar out there, because it allows your dog to bark, get corrected, and then bark again without getting corrected. And that's important, because some bark collars correct the dog every time it barks, and that's unfair to the dog. because some dogs bark, and the really sensitive ones will make another noise, like a yelping noise, and they should not get corrected for yelping. They should just get corrected for barking. So the good thing about the Dogtra is that it has a 12-second delay on it, right? So by that time, any yelping will be. Does that one tell you how many times it's corrected? No, it doesn't. The Dogtra does not tell you that. But I think the Garmin or maybe even Einstein's the ones that tell you. But usually for me, I'll turn it up to 2 or 3, and I never have a dog bark more than once. So again, it gives your dog peace of mind, gives you a peace of mind. You can sleep. So I would just go ahead and go with that. Go with the bark collar. And the other thing is how to fit it correctly. You definitely want it to be not hanging. It needs to be snug so where you can keep 2 fingers underneath. A couple days working on 3rd shift. Got to get things rolling. All right, buddy. Yeah, contact me, man. Come up here and we can train some dogs. I'm always open for people to come. I haven't quite got a shadow program yet. A lot of people have been asking me, and it's kind of bothering me now. So maybe I'll come up with something. But yeah, check out Canine Cupids. They're in Milwaukee, and they've sent me some dogs, some really, really big pit bulls. They get tons of them. So if you're a dog trainer and you want to grow your business quickly, working with a rescue is very advantageous. Anybody else have any questions? You feel free to ask and shoot. Get it together, man. Who was that? Is that Carly? Are they good with finding homes? Honestly, I don't know. I just train them and go back to their foster. They go back to the foster parent, but I've kind of changed like the way that I think about that. I really want, after the dog leaves my house, I really want somebody knowledgeable about what they're getting into. And so, for example, that dog Lucy that left me with separation anxiety, I really, really made sure that the foster parent was well aware of her issues because they were serious issues. I mean, this dog broke out of a crate, chewed through a wooden door, and chewed up a couch. That's how bad her separation anxiety was. And so I wanted to make sure, because everybody thinks they should feel sorry for this dog. And she's a sweetheart too. She's 7 years old. She's been through a lot. We get it. But, some dogs, humans are their drugs. And if they're not in the right environment, then they're going to go back to their old ways. Absolutely, man. Come up anytime you want, Jake. Best way to find the right rescue. Be as honest and transparent and passionate as possible. If that sounds a little goofy, but I emailed probably 100 rescues before I moved up here, and I currently only work with one. But I think rescues just have to be totally clear on what you want from them, or what you use and how you train, and then you also have to be, and this is not just with rescue, but this is just in general. You have to also be sort of savvy on, how you present yourself, because you can't just say, "Oh, I'm a trainer from Wisconsin and I use prong collars and e-collars. Let me train your dogs." That's sometimes going to rub especially rescue people, the wrong way. So you want to sort of, in a savvy way, "Hey, Tori, how you doing?" You want to, in a savvy way, uh, you know, let them know that you will help them and you will take their, what I did was I'd take their worst dog, and I'd only charge them a short amount, a little bit amount of money, and because it's again, it is a very good way to grow your business. And just this is just talking to uh, dog trainers. It's a very good way to grow your business. But not all rescues are created equally. I'm fortunate to be working with a really good rescue out of Madison, who they have me for seminars every 2 months, and they're very, very proactive with educating their fosters. And I think that is going to make all the difference in the world, because a more educated foster means, you know, they can rehab to a certain level with their dog, with their dogs that they bring in, which means more, you know, foster failures, and less adopted returns, because we all know that that's a pretty prevalent problem. So, hey, thanks for inviting followers. I appreciate that. Anyway, we're answering any questions you guys have, dog training or dog trainers, or if you just have a dog and you want some questions answered, feel free to ask. But hi, Funk, Funk, hi, Funk. I've got I got another question that popped up on Instagram that I'm going to answer really quickly. Okay. How do I stop my dogs from fighting each other? They used to get along when they were younger, but now they're about a year and the other one's a year and a half, and they're constantly fighting. Oh boy. This isn't Tori's Periscope. This is Jeremy's Periscope. But Tori's in here, I think. All right, anyway. So you've got yeah, Tori shared it. So you've got thanks for sharing, you guys. That's awesome. I appreciate it. For the new people that are here, I'm Jeremy Majors with Majors Academy Dog Training out of Green Bay, Wisconsin, and Tori is awesome. And I am answering questions about, my new username is Jeremy Majors. Thanks, appreciate it. So I'll talk about fighting in a little quickly, briefly, because it's a long kind of complicated thing. But what's the best way to walk two dogs, one on each side? Yes, start off with that. Start off with this though first. When you want to walk two dogs, and I know I skipped over a question, but I'll cater to the Periscope questions first. Do I play for the Packers? No. What's up, man? So the best way to walk two dogs that are, first and foremost, you want to make sure you can walk one dog in control. Clients' dogs potties in the house even after going outside. All right, I'll get back to that. Hold on. Let me just answer this one question. So walk dogs individually and get control over them, and then introduce them together. And then it won't matter really what side you walk them on. Okay? One of them's right here. She's just laying here. Someone wants to see my dog. Hold on. That's Mama. Say hi. She reminds me of Dobby from Harry Potter. All right. Anyway, okay, so potty breaks when we leave the house. I have a foster dog who poops in the crate when we leave the house. How big's that crate? Make sure that crate's small enough to where the foster the foster minds that space, because if he has too much space and he can get away from the pee or poop, then they'll be more likely to do it. So anyway, the potty thing, going back outside and then coming in and peeing, what you want to do is put the dog back in the crate if they don't pee outside, right? Put that dog back in the crate, wait another 15 minutes, and take them out again. Have your dogs, like I said before, you should have your dogs go when you want them to go, as opposed to the other way around. So keep them on a consistent schedule, and you can do that. And they'll also go within 2-3 minutes of them being let outside. So my dogs go out when I basically get up, or when around 12 or so. Not that, but that's to be the second time I get up. That's not the first time I get up. So anyway, so for example, here's my schedule. I wake up around 8 or 7 or even 9 sometimes, and I take my dogs out, right? Put them up, feed them, and then we wait for about 2 hours for their food to settle or whatnot. Then I let them out again, and then we do some training, blah 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 blah. We let them out around 3 or 4, something like that, and then I put them up and feed them, and then I let them out around 7 again, and train a little bit more, something like that, and put them up, and then last outs will be around 9, 10, and that's it. So it's not about, oh, my dog doesn't let me know when he has to go to the bathroom. So much so then just keeping them on a schedule, and you determine when they go outside and go to the bathroom. Excuse me. Okay, so if you typed a question and I missed it, go ahead and type it again. Otherwise, I got another question. These questions just keep popping up from Instagram. My Instagram has gotten pretty popular lately. So, I don't know why. Tori, how's your Instagram? Is your Instagram doing good? Is Tori still here? I hope she is. Are you going to the reunion, by the way? Dog goes in crate, looks at owner, and starts peeing. What? Oh. What does that mean? Do you need help with that, or is that a scared thing? Oh, okay, yeah. So that's a scared thing. I think I know a lot of dogs pee out of fear. So depending on how long you've had the dog, you may need to change the relationship or the association with the crate, right? So something that can happen or can get better in time as the dog feels safer with you. What I like to do for dogs, that if I'm approaching them and they're starting to become fearful, I'll sweet talk them a little bit, just to make them feel safe. But that is something that the dog is feeling, so that only goes away with certain time. The other thing you can do is keep a leash on the dog in the crate, and limit your eye contact with the dog, and sort of go for the end of the leash as opposed to handling the dog at all with your hands. I think it could be just protesting having to go into the crate. If you're saying that the dog goes in the crate because out of spite or something, I don't see that. I don't think that's true necessarily. The only time I've had dogs do what we've just described is if they're newer and they're fearful. And again, if that's happening, you put a leash on the dog, and keep the leash on while the dog's in the crate, and so that you can just grab the leash and go out with minimal body pressure. If it's body pressure that makes her nervous, or if it's vocal pressure, or if it's eye contact that makes the dog nervous, you can kind of avoid all of that if you keep the leash on the dog. Okay? Hope that helps. I hope I nailed it for you. If I didn't, ask again. Thanks. Appreciate it. So if you don't know, a little bit about us. We train out of Green Bay, Wisconsin, and we've been training dogs for about 10 years, and been only feeding with nose behind for 4 weeks. Worst noise behind. What does that mean? Oh, shoot. I'm not sure what that means. Anyway, we've been training dogs for about 10 years, and we started off in a dog daycare. Fully e-collar trained, all foundation work. What does that mean? Is that a question? Oh, so I didn't even see that question. The dog gets really freaked out by noise behind. Oh, okay, okay, okay. That was the question. I see what you're saying. All right. So the question was the dog gets really freaked out with noises behind him. Again, that's in my opinion, that's a product of what happened when he was younger. Nobody was there to advocate for the dog. So any way you have to, any way you want to do it, what the point of it is, it'll go away through time and advocacy with the dog. I had a dog. One of my personal dogs was very scared of everything as well. He was about 2 years old when we got him, and a big pit bull with the pointy ears named Tobias. If you see my videos, that's the guy. But he's just gotten a lot better with everything. He even with construction going out in the backyard, he'd freak out and start pacing and stuff like that. Client of mine won't walk her dog because she believes it'll teach the dog to leave the yard. How do I explain this to her? Um, how do you explain it to her? I think what you have to say is uh, train that tell your owner, or excuse me, tell your friend that they should off leash train their dog. So even if the dog does get out, first of all, it won't happen. It won't. It just won't happen. But secondly, the dog should be trained off leash so that it doesn't really matter. So that if the dog does get out, the owner says come and the dog comes. So that's what should happen really. But I don't think that would be an issue. The dog needs to be walked. What would you look for in a trainer? Good question, man. Very, very, very good question. So depending on what you want, if it's just regular pet dog training, pet real world dog training, what you want to look for in a dog trainer is someone who sort of projects themselves as well. What I would look for is a lot of video content. If they're putting a lot of content out there. There's tons of trainers that don't even have videos on their website. In my opinion, because I do this, and so I may be biased, but in my opinion, that's super important. You know, I want to be able to see the dogs that the trainer works. How are they looking? Are they looking scared? Are they looking at all nervous? Are they, and that's okay sometimes at first. I know that, but towards the end of training, every dog should feel that gets trained should feel comfortable with the trainer and be happy and be excited, tail up, head up, posture up, not confused. So that's what you want to look for. Look for a dog trainer that's transparent with what tools they use, how much they charge, and and um, and everything like that. You just want an honest sort of approach to dog training, a simple approach to dog training. That's what I like. I like to keep it simple for people. There's a lot of dog trainers that try and keep it very complicated or make it very complicated, but that's because their skill is, in my opinion, not up to par. So it's not about these big words. It's about relating to your clients in the best way you can and getting them to get it and feeling confident. Because if they don't feel confident about handling their aggressive or fearful dog, then the dog's going to take advantage of them. And why wouldn't that be your goal as a dog trainer? Uh, I'm not sure. I don't spend a lot of time looking at how people handle dogs. I'm in a community of dog trainers that are really progressively going towards not correcting as if at all. I mean, at least as the least as possible, because I think as we learn different tools and techniques of the trade, I think we want to get away from all that correcting. So I don't see it too much I know that there are trainers that because they don't make videos of it, but I know that there are trainers that do need to be educated and take things slow. Yeah, it's new school, and I think the best of both worlds. You think you take sort of some of the things from old school, but you put a new school twist on it, right? You want to be as gentle as possible, but you also want to be as communicative, as clear as possible, so that the dog gets it and he's happy to get it, right? He's happy to do what you want him to do. He's happy to do what you ask him to do. That's good. That's dog training, in my opinion. They're happily going into their crate. They're happily sitting and waiting, or they're self-correcting themselves when you knock on the door. When someone knocks on the door, they go to their place. That's kind of cool. How do you promote good play between dogs? My foster play with a resident dog, but what you want to do with dogs that play is make sure you can have control over both dogs. That will exclude get aroused quickly. That will exclude any potential problems. Have control over both dogs. I just today introduced 3 dogs to my pack today. You can look it up. You can look it out on my Facebook page, Majors Academy. But I introduced 3 dogs to my pack today, and everyone had to be calm, because that's the best way. And take your time doing that. So many people just throw their dogs into the other dog, and it's hey, thanks for inviting people. I appreciate it. Thanks, Dina. Anyway, that's a process that's often rushed and can result in some bad stuff, right? So take as much time as you want. For example, these dogs came in on Tuesday, and what's today? Thursday. So it took 2 days for me to introduce those dogs to my dogs. But they, in the meantime, were smelling their smells, so it wasn't such an unfamiliar surprise, because that's where the problems arise. As if I would have just thrown them in there with my dogs would have came up and just got in their face. And I'll address that. Quickly. The Chihuahua goes crazy when anyone comes over. So anyway, take your time, control both situations, and don't let them interact when they want to, right? So you'll be introducing dogs, and they'll be very excited and want to interact. Don't do that. Wait until they're kind of forgotten about each other. Then get a little closer or something like that, right? But the first time they see each other, that's when they interact, because that shows no control for both dogs. So advocate for both dogs in that situation and say, you know what, let's do something before we introduce them. Let's walk. Let's put them on place. Let's do something else other than just meet. Because that's when problems arise. So you want to have control over your dogs. When I say stop playing, that also means stop playing too. And you need that as well, because that can stop a fight from happening. So, teaching that and having that control also teaches that dog to control their impulses when he wants to get aroused, right? So keep them calm. Try to keep them calm. If that dog that gets aroused is out of control, keep the dog on a leash. And then as he gets comfortable or calmer, then drop the leash, but keep it on, so he starts to know that when you step in, he has to calm down. Give him a sit, tell him to sit for 10 or 20 seconds, and then let him go. That's how you can really calm him down as well. But you have to have a leash on maybe to easily get that dog to do that. Okay? Chihuahua goes crazy every time someone comes over. We have small children who our foster seems to get most excited with. We have been working on it. I'll get to that in a minute. I'll get to that in a minute. Children and dogs, but Chihuahua goes crazy in the house when people come over. So this is what you do. You have to give that dog a job to do in that circumstance. Period. Either teach the dog place, I have a YouTube channel that has a how-to video, a how to teach your dog to place. So basically what that is you tell your dog to go to the bed, and the dog goes to their bed and lies down, or you keep the dog on leash and you keep him in a sit or a down. But basically, give that dog a job to do in a situation that is insecure for that dog. That's the dog is barking because he's insecure. He needs something to do in that moment. That brain is just reacting. So give him something to think about, right? So he might still bark from place, but that'll go away as time goes away too, or as time passes. He'll just know that you'll intervene in that moment of insecurity, and he'll stop that barking. Okay, the barking will melt away, but again, it'll take time. Potty training a Chihuahua is the same way you potty train a puppy, any puppy. Crate the dog, and only take the dog outside of the crate once he has to pee. Otherwise, you should keep the dog on leash in the house, so that again you can monitor when that dog, goes outside. Yep, in a tiny crate. Exactly. Because it can't be a big crate. If the dog can get away from the pee and poop, then it's just going to pee and poop in the crate. So you want to make it to where the dog will try to avoid going to the bathroom, because, if he does, then he'll sleep in it, or he'll have to sit and lay down in it. So don't do that. Get a smaller crate for that dog. That's the only two issues. So if she is she going on potty pads? If she's not going on potty pads, then you're fine. I mean, if she is going on potty pads, then you're fine. But if she's not going on the potty pads, then you just have to train her to go on potty pads too, or crate train the dog. Okay, every dog should be comfortable in a crate, and I'll tell you why. Do you ever come around? Is that Minnesota? Absolutely. I love Minnesota. Advice for a dog that doesn't seem to mind sitting in own poop. I had a dog once that was considered, yes, I love Minnesota. Thanks for inviting again, Dina. I appreciate it. I have a dog that they call dirty dogs, that is okay with sitting in pee and poop. That's unfortunate. That's a small percentage of dogs. But a little trick that has worked for me, you may want to try it, is when the dog does poop in the crate, what I like to do is I'll take the dog outside. Obviously, I'll clean the dog up and whatnot, and I'll clean the crate up. But what you have to do is manipulate their food somehow and learn their digestive timeline, so that you can start to know when exactly they do that. They go to the bathroom. Manipulate their food. If they go when you leave in the morning, then just feed at night once at night, so then you can let the dog out and they pee and poop, so that they don't have, they won't pee and poop whenever they are. So it's all about learning when they do it, sort of thing, kind of a pattern, and then manipulating their food to where, so for example, if you feed your dogs twice a day, half a cup or a cup and a half, then feed them once, three cups when you can be home, and let that dog out, so that the dog can get all that stuff out and not have to pee and poop. So manipulate the food. Try that. Or and if it's peeing, then you can also manipulate the water. Okay. And Chihuahuas they're difficult. So anyway, I do come to Minnesota. I actually was just there about 4 or 5 months ago, and I had a client out there. Yeah, check me out. It's Majors Academy Dog Training at Rehabilitation. That's my Facebook, and if you need some help, man, just let me know. She just barks and is hard to potty train. Yeah, you got to crate her. You got to trade her, and you also got to let her know that barking gets you nothing but a consequence, a no. But if she barks and you give that dog any sort of attention that she wants, then the dog's going to continue to bark. Do I do in-home training? Yes, but not in Appleton. Um, Appleton folks and folks outside of Green Bay will have to come up with me, which is fine. I have people that come up just for an hour, all the way from Iron River, all the way from Oshkosh. So that's fine. Other dogs are the best potty trainers. That could be true too. Dogs that are, especially ones that are territorial, want to pee over the other dogs, so they'll train them. Um, I trained a dog in Minnesota. There was a client who wanted me to train their dog for separation anxiety. It's sort of all the same kind of stuff, but I'm just finding out that people just there's not a lot of good research out on how to solve some of these these behavior issues. There's when you look it up on the internet, it's all positive stuff, click and treat stuff, but some of these dogs need some intervention, man. Some of these dogs need to be told no, and especially a rescue dog, especially a dog that has any sort of any sort of dark past. Because the problem with rescue dogs is those first few months are very crucial in development. And if they don't have anybody there to step in and advocate and guide in those crucial moments, you'll see the effects from that for a long time. Okay, so I mean, I have a fearful dog who's like 5 years old, and I've had him for 3 years now, and he's still fearful. That first year, it was, it did some damage to him. So, and I don't know what kind of damage, but it's there needs to be more information out there in regards to how to guide and properly advocate for your dog. Oh boy, if those chocolate lab puppies, ooh, that's a lot. It's a lot to handle. Here's the other thing. You know, yeah, that's tough. Here's the other thing. Why not? Why not take your dog to school, to dog training? We make our children go to school, don't we? Because it's beneficial to them, right? They don't have a choice in that, do we? So that should be the same approach with dogs too, because they need it. They want it mentally. They want to be exercised mentally, not just sitting at home waiting for you to come home and then you give them treats and love and couch and all that. They need to be challenged too. What if your dog is a talented dog? Your dog could be a talented sniffing nose work type dog. You don't even know it. Join your local kennel club and take your dog to school. An educated dog is a good dog. Tired dog is a good dog, mentally, physically, and the relationship is better between human and dog. So join your local kennel club, and hopefully they're okay. Some of them are weird, but it's beneficial to all parties, especially your dog. Okay, so check it out. Check them out. Our local kennel club is called the Packer Kennel Club, and I haven't joined it, but I'm part of a dog club down in Campbellsport. I don't know anybody in Minnesota right off the top of my head, which is rare because I know tons of dog trainers all over the United States, just not in Minnesota. I'll have to get back to you on that one. I'm not sure. I know that there's a good trainer oh boy, somewhere in western Wisconsin. Oh, Eau Claire, named Jana. She's a good trainer. My dog sleeps the entire time I'm at work. She's good. She hates the vacuum. She wants to kill it. Very odd. No, it's not that odd. I just trained a big pit that wants to kill a vacuum. Actually, he wants to kill you because you turned on the vacuum. So that's bad. But it's all fear. Yeah, it's not odd. There's tons of dogs that do that. Vacuums, lawnmowers, snow blowers, you name it. If it's loud, some dogs hate it. How do I stop food aggression? Um, Make the dog feel safe. Make the dog feel safe around food. Do not stick your hand in the food. Do not pet the dog while he's eating. Leave that dog alone while he's eating. Feed him in the crate. Demand that he sits before feeding him. Demand that he asks for it. But once the food is down, leave him alone. So the only thing I require for food aggression is that they ask for it. He doesn't do it to me. He only does it to my daughter. I have 3 dogs, and he is the youngest. So keep your daughter from being around that dog. Well, one of the things that my dad taught me when I was younger, I remember him telling me, leave the dogs alone when they're eating. And for good reason. How do I get my dog to come up onto my lap? I don't train dogs to get up on laps. I actually don't. I don't like when dogs are on furniture. So, what are your toughest types of cases? Great question. Toughest types of cases, easily. I can tell you that easy. They're ones that are fearful and bratty. Because if you have one without the other, they're easy. But if you have both, then it's hard. Fearful, a dog that's fearful, and a dog that's bratty, entitled. And they usually are rescue dogs, because the fear factor always is a rescue thing. But the brattiness is if they've been with their owners for about a year, and they're just hard to read. Because you want to make sure, based on what their behaviors are, you can't approach a fearful dog the same way you can approach a bratty dog. Because a bratty dog is pushy, he's assertive, he's an adolescent most of the time, and you can sort of kind of just tell that dog no, and you can sort of give him the rules, boundaries right from day one. But a fearful dog, you kind of gotta let him be safe, otherwise he'll bite you, right? So you got to give the fearful dog a little space, a little room, a little wiggle room. You can't, you're not too concerned if he goes in the door in front of you. You're not too concerned if he, kind of busts out of the crate. You're not too concerned if he, jumps in the car or all those little things. You're not too concerned with that with the fearful guy. Got to make him feel comfortable. And then you can start easily dropping those boundaries that you need to help him get over those behavior issues. So, but again, the hardest ones to read is this. The last one I had was this dog named Moses. If you go to my website, if you go to my Facebook page, Majors Academy Dog Training and Rehabilitation, he's the black dog. I also posted him on Instagram. But, he was a dog where he was very fearful and bratty. And it was like, okay, which one, what are you feeling? What are you thinking right now? Are you thinking you're about to bite me? Because then I'm going to back off and I'm going to give you some space. But, if you're just being pushy because you don't want to do it, then, you got to do it, So, for example, I was teaching that dog the place command. And he just kept trying to, even just on the walk, we were just walking, and he just kept trying to go behind me for, I don't know what reason. It wasn't cars. He was a little fearful of cars, but he would do it without a car. And, then getting to know him, I was like, you know what? I think you just don't want to do it. It's not that you feel unsafe in this moment, because most of the time dogs take 2 or 3 or maybe the first 3 or 4 days and they're pretty okay with me. So it'd been that time, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to give so much wiggle room because I think I'm almost giving in to you and what you don't want to do. So those are the most difficult dogs. I know that was a lot. Maybe talked your ear off, but the most difficult dogs are always fearful and bratty mixed. Fearful, nothing but fearful, those dogs are awesome, easy. Nothing but bratty, those dogs are awesome and easy. But when you get them both, you know, that's tough. So anyway, anybody else have any more questions? Otherwise, shoot, I've been here for in 3 minutes. It'll be an hour. Pretty good. I'm gonna start doing these more, or I'm gonna try to. I don't I don't keep it consistent. I don't tell people, it's not an every week thing, just because I may not have the ability to do it every week. So thanks for following. Thanks for watching. Give me some some last minute heart love. I think you should like Chihuahuas. Watch my scope of her. Hey, I'm gonna follow you. I'll watch your Chihuahua. I appreciate it. Thanks for your questions. I appreciate you watching. You guys have a good night.